Hello and welcome to this vlog for Scotch Whisky Auctions. This one's for our 40th auction. Once again, Big Peatrie here with the big dogs from the auction, some drinking jams, some really interesting items as well. Some great things to look forward to in this auction. First up, we have a little bit of a rarity. It's an Old Elgin, distilled in 1939. So once again, a pre-Second World War whisky here for you. Bottled in the 1980s. A real chance to chase a style of whisky that isn't really available anymore. Again, heavily use of rumagers, direct fire stills, all the exciting things that make up great whisky available in this bottle. Next up, we have, you'll remember from last month, our Kurosawa Geisha. This month, another rare whisky from Japan. One of only 60 bottles released. This is the Kawasaki 1980. It's a single cask grain. It's one of only 60 bottles, as I said, released. 59.6%, so it's got a bit of a heft to it. Japanese grain whisky, not easy to come by. They don't share the blends and the whiskies the same way that the blending industry do in Scotland. So this is only the 8th release of this whisky ever, worldwide. Beautiful images on the front. Fantastic amount of work in it, and a great bottle. Hen's Teeth whisky, real Hen's Teeth whisky. Next up, we have a bottle from one of the world's most famous distilleries, Bowmore. This was released to celebrate their bicentenary in 1979. It's a lovely cask strength offering, bottled at 56.2%. It's originally for the Italian market. Most of the ones that were released in Scotland around this time were all about 40%, so this one's got a bit more heft to it. A fabulous chance to taste whisky that was released for a special occasion and quite rare and quite hard to get hold of. In terms of quite rare and quite hard to get hold of, 50-year-old Macallan. You'll have seen this one on our blog, you'll have seen it on our Facebook page. Frankly, I'm not going to pick it up because I'm too scared of it. An absolutely beautiful Macallan. 50 years old, one of 3 casks that have been blended together and bottled in these beautiful little dumpy decanters, reminiscent of the stills from Macallan. The quality, the darkness of that spirit. Really one of the world's great whiskies. A star of any auction, and probably the star of our auction, let's be honest. Absolutely cracking whisky from Macallan. Next up, we have a coming together of 2 big cult heroes. Ardbeg, one of the big favourite cult distilleries, recently resaved and back on the world scene, dividing people into people who love it, people who hate it, but we love it here. We also love Cadenheads, Scotland's oldest independent bottler, famous for bottling things cask strength, no chill filtration, all those good things that Ralphie and other people would be proud of. This one, distilled in 1966 and bottled 32 years later. Ardbeg, from a different style of peating, different things going on in this bottle, and it's had a chance to mellow and become truly fabulous whisky in the cask, and then bottled, as I said, in 1999, 32 years later. Beautiful whisky from a great distillery and a great independent bottler. Now, as you know, here at Scotch Whisky Auctions, we don't just do whisky or Scotch whisky, we do Japanese whisky, American whisky, whisky from all around the world, and we also like to throw in the odd curveball there and there. We've got whisky, you may have seen it again on Facebook. We've got rum from 1939. We also have, in celebration of the Commonwealth Games opening in Glasgow, a wee cheeky half of Buckfast. You know, Glasgow's favourite, used in tempura batter. Some people use it for reduction of sauces. A fine and cheeky little vintage of Buckfast. Sticking with our Commonwealth Games theme, we've got some gold here. Gold! You remember a couple of months ago, we had the first bottle of Ora Verdes. Well, this now, we've got 4.5 litres of Ora Verdes. The World Cup is finished, but there's no reason to stop celebrating with this monster bottle of a very, very good dram. Talking of very good drams, we've said this before, we don't just collect whisky, we also like to drink our whisky here. The next bottle is, by consensus in the office, one of the most drinkable drams that we've ever come across. It's from Bruichladdich, and it's 16-year-old bourbon cask. 16 years in bourbon cask, and then it was aced, which is Bruichladdich version of it, for additional cask enhancement in freshly disgorged Buffalo Trace casks. A brilliant bourbon producer. one of the most dangerously drinkable bottles that you will come across. We've nicknamed this type of bottle a cork tosser in the auction. It's not a rude thing, it basically just means that once you take that little squeaky cork out, go pop, and go gug, 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 you might as well take that cork and throw it towards the bin, because in company of good friends, this will flow an incredibly drinkable dram, and one that's genuinely making me salivate just talking about it. I've also talked before about liquid history. The chance to taste things that you don't really get the chance, that style of whisky that maybe not be produced anymore, distilleries that are no longer around. This bottle fulfills two of those requirements. Old school White Horse, this one distilled in 1953. Heavy reliance on Lagavulin. There might even be a bit of malt mill in there. That great mythical angel stare starring distillery. A great chance to taste whisky that was blended a long time ago, a different style. We've said it before, liquid history. And this one here, a wee bottle, just to let you try a blast from the past. We also like to try bottles, the style which you don't really get to see. We've said that. Highland Park, one of those great distilleries in terms of consistency. The late great Michael Jackson was a massive fan of it. And here we have from the 1970s an 8-year-old bottle of Highland Park. Highland Park now, obviously 12-year-old and above. Those great releases of Thor that have been doing so well. Freya, Loki, really trades on its Viking heritage. This one, a little bit different, a little bit softer possibly. A good investigatory dram, a chance to taste a different way of looking at whisky, a different way of looking at the distillery. Again, you might have seen on Facebook, we've put up a couple of pictures of distilleries the way you don't normally find them. We had a 30-year-old cask strength Dalmore. We had a Tactical, which is from Skye, and a secret distillery on Skye, from Old Malt Cask. And then we had a 20-year-old Oban. You don't really see much of Oban that's aged much beyond its standard 14 years old. This is the great thing about the auction. Once again, we have depth, incredible depth, the chance to try whiskies that you don't really get to see very often. We also have Macallan. We always have Macallan. We've got a Peter Blake. We've got another 1938. We've got another 1946. Mega Macallans, as always, here at Scotch Whisky Auctions. We've got a beautiful and bountiful Bunnahavens and Bowmores. We've got a multitude of Milburns. Ladies and gentlemen, when the auction goes live, get in, have a look around. There are some beautiful whiskies. The depth, once again, in this auction is incredible. So get in and have a look around. Now, just need time to announce the winner of our still game competition, and that was Ryan Thompson. He correctly guessed that the stills were from Daft Mill, so congratulations, Ryan. We'll get in touch with you and we'll send your goodies out to you. Just also the chance to announce another little competition. We're going to call it the Sepia competition. Obviously, you see we have multiple images in this auction of all the different bottles. One of them is going to be sepia toned. So the first person by email receipt to say which one it actually is, which bottle, which lot number has the sepia picture, will win more Scotch Whisky Auctions goodies. So get in there, have a look around, and remember, Scotch Whisky Auctions, don't lose your bottle.